So the kind of latest fad thing, hype, fragrances that are being talked about before, never ever been mentioned ever again. The latest PR thing, machine has pumped out loads of them. Some people have been gifted the entire collection, haven't they? I'll have my opinion on that later. But yeah, okay. Charlotte Tilbury, darlings. Makeup brand. I have no comment on that. I don't wear makeup, so why would I comment on that? And you know, Charlotte Tilbury's owned by Puig, or I'm not Spanish, so you know, who made the latest Penhaligon's ones, and these have been compared to them quite a lot. Now, of course, this is all subjective, and I'll be judging them. You know, they're mid-range priced, aren't they? I suppose. Subjective thing, cost, isn't it? But I'll be keeping that in mind. And you may love these, you may hate these. Our opinions may be different. It's all good, isn't it? Really. If we all like the same things, life would be boring. Anyway, let's crack on. So the first one I tried was More Sex. The name, really, More Sex, darlings, whatever. Yeah, well, this one, okay. It opens with a very odd smelling charred black pepper, like it's kind of got this cardboard beef flavouring. The juniper adds a kind of pleasant sweetness. I'm trying to be balanced. Under it all, the musk is extremely nose tingly, i.e., come on, it's a ton of ambroxan. As it develops, that weird synthetic beef smell grows. Maybe it's what's considered leather? Maybe. There is a kind of felt, suede pleasantness that does push through a bit more, maybe. And I'm guessing the weird beefy smell is a kind of attempt at a synthetic animalic feel thing. It does make me feel really queasy, actually, and I'm not just being dramatic, it really genuinely does. It's so heavy, and I'm not saying synthetic like it's a bad word, because obviously there's really good synthetics, isn't there? It just doesn't agree with me, okay? And it's a bit choky. And it dries down after a couple of hours. And I'm being fair. It's a little bit easier. It's still very strong, that weird... I mean, do you need to use synthetic pepper? It's smoother. There's a bit of like a weird ashiness, and that beefiness is still there. So, you know, trying to keep that balance there. And be subjective. It's called More Sex. It's supposed to be kind of, I suppose, a little bit mucky, sexy, you know. I mean, if you like synthetic beef and it really gets you in the mood for some loving, with a lot of ambroxan and probably a weird cashmeran helped with that pepperiness. If that's what really does it for you, then yeah. Now, what I will say, this is the first one I've tried. I'm going to try not to do them all in order because I don't want to be influenced. Some of them could be better, and it's unique. I'll give it that. I've never smelled anything like this, and I hope to never smell anything like this ever again. But it's not for me. It's weird to a point of being, what is this? And again, this is a very expensive fragrance, but we all know that these, is it owned by Puig or whatever it's called? So they're not a brand famous for, although they own a lot of niche. More recently, they're not, same ingredients that go in Penhaligon's and other brands they own, most likely. It just didn't work for me. And I'm sorry if you love this one, but generally it making me want to vomit. And I wouldn't want to smell of natural beef, never mind synthetic beef. So yeah, not for me. So next on this little Charlotte Tilbury journey, the next one I tried was Love Frequency. Now this opens with a pink pepper and a strong ambroxan type note. Under it at this stage is a kind of musky patchouli rose, shall we say. It smells very pink. After about half an hour, the patchouli and the heavy base grows a bit with that kind of plaster. I believe Americans call them band-aid kind of thing, mixing with the rose. And it dries down, sickly sweet, and that rosy cashmeran and ambroxan have a kind of strong grainy patchouli. It's a brief kind of one, this. It wasn't all that complicated. So what did I think of it? Patchouli roses are not rare. And the little element of, I'm guessing, saffron in it, it is not rare with that DNA either. I will say, I mean, this is a big thumbs up, a big plus, is it's very unique in that sense that it's got so much cashmeran and so many kind of aroma molecular kind of things in it that it isn't quite like anything I've ever sniffed before. If you like, I don't know, it doesn't smell anything like Portrait of a Lady. But if you are a fan of that DNA, but you wish it was kind of nuclear and not really in any, if the natural smell of that offends you, this could be a good one to try. I'm not going to waffle on. I mean, I realise the first one were very long, so I'm going to try not to patter on too much. Aye, so yeah, like I say, not patter on too much. It's for them lovers of kind of synthetic patchouli musky rose type ones. So that is what was that one? That one, you can tell I've got my notes out, can't it? Was Love Frequency. Next from the box of delights was Joyphoria. Nice name, I suppose, in a weird kind of way, wasn't it? So what's this one? Well, it opens with a pleasant neroli, and when I say a neroli is pleasant, you know where this is going. And it's kind of in this sea, ocean, world of ambroxan and cashmeran type notes. It's sharp and at the same time immensely gloopy. The neroli, actually, that touch of sharp sweetness in there with the sort of tuberose is incredibly pleasant, in amongst everything else. The base is so heavy and dense with that sort of creamy sock in the mouth feel, and it does make me feel a bit queasy. It really has pushed it that far. It just gets heavier and more headachy, like microwave socks maybe. The sweetness of the tuberose and still hints of neroli add a little bit of bearability to it. It makes it possible to smell it, I suppose. It dries down with a really kind of the same, with maybe even like an extreme intense massive, you know, version of cashmeran in there. So again, this one didn't bring me joy. I wasn't joyophoric. Look, the neroli was the best bit of it for me. The sort of tuberose note adds a bit of sweet something in there, but again, this one ultimately is just cashmeran and ambroxan type things with a little bit of flavouring in there. Maybe they forgot to put the perfume in it. I'm not meaning to be rude about this. Like I say, it's all subjective, and we love things or we don't. But this was just too heavy. Again, it was a bomb of a fragrance. I need to also add, because I know, reading on Fragrantica through the comments, there's quite a few people who like these who also commented and compared them to Initio and BDK and things. Yeah, I can see that. So if you like that sort of just kind of chemical but massive fragrance, then this might be a one for you. It's not my favourite. So next, these came from Lizzie, by the way, Rose and Jones, for me to try, and this is a bottle that she bought herself, so I'll try to be nice. So anyway, this one opens up with a kind of salty, queasy sweetness, maybe from the citrus. The seaweed note is very heavy and synthetic, and there's a kind of massive ambroxany, cashmeran-y thing going on again. In there, hiding quite well, is something reasonably pleasant, which could be the frankincense, and maybe a bit of the cypress. The salt and the cashmeran are so overwhelming though. I mean, massive and ginormous. I'll give it its due though. The smell of the green aromatic thing in there is pleasant. It's just the rest of it, to me, with the denseness and the chemicalness, is quite brain bleeding. And after an hour, it's super dense cashmeran with that green aquatic salty vibe, and a little hint of a kind of pleasant greenness hiding in there, you know. And the dry down, yeah, you guessed it, a ton of salt and of course cashmeran. This one, look, I can see why you'd like this. It is different to the others in the sense that there is an attempt at something there. It's slightly interesting. The greenness tries so hard to be pleasant and to give this some sort of life, but underneath the cashmeran, nothing can breathe. Nothing can do it, and it's that saltiness that, again, it's a personal thing, a subjective thing, makes me feel car sick, seasick. It's just too much, and it's too horrific for me. It really does make me feel sick. In fact, so far they all have. Well, that's the denseness and the them kind of things. So that is green magic. Is it green magic? Magic energy even. Next. So next is calm bliss. Was this calm bliss, or was this some sort of tragic hell? We'll find out. So it opens with a kind of reasonably pleasant, freshly warm pair of socks. They've been washed in a lavender scented softener with a quite aquatic feel. Oh wait, hang on, don't do that. As the cashmeran grows, someone has pushed a whole kind of pair of socks into your mouth, and they're holding their fingers over your nose. To be fair, compared to the others, it's a little bit gentler, and airier, if that's an accurate word. Although it's not listed, I do get a nice fresh freesia touch in there. I'm sure that's just purely coincidental. And the ambroxan does burn the old nose hairs as it starts to grow and grow. And again, you guessed it, it gets denser and denser. So from a great distance, this one could be said to be reasonably pleasant if you walk past someone, but if you get anywhere near close, it's not the worst. But yeah, as it goes into the dry down, that sickeningly thick, heavy, hefty cashmeran takes over. So did I like this one? Up until this point, it was the most pleasant I'd tried. It's a little bit gentler, so I'll give it its due, and to be fair, it's fairly pleasant, generic but fairly pleasant, until the cashmeran kicks in, and also in there's a kind of burnt melted plastic weirdness which makes me feel a bit sick, as it would. So again, this one not for me, but out of the lot of them so far was the most, let's say, wearable. Not really. So yeah, that's calm bliss. Finally, spoilers here, was the most wearable for me, but that's not necessarily a great thing. So this one opens with LME and cinnamon, maybe some cardamom, and the mixing with the amber gives that kind of cola feel. However, also in there is that Charlotte Tilbury really weird pepper. I don't know how hard it is to put a pepper note. Is it an accord? Yeah, it's that same weird pepper that was in the beef one. I can't even remember what it's called. It's noticeable, but it does fade, thankfully, as the powdery pinkness comes through, and it becomes more like a cola syrup. You know, if you've worked in a pub and stuff, you know, if you don't push the lever all the way back on the Coke thing, you can have it so it just comes out with loads of syrup, and that's kind of what it's like, with a very sweet tinge, and the ambroxan is there. It's much more tame in this one. It's not one I am actually still wearing it now. Oh God, it's not that kills me. And it dries down sticky sweet with the syrup and the cinnamon and a touch of powderiness around it all. And the ambroxan thing is still there, but that kind of Coke syrup is so sweet. It's so much there. So out of all of them, this was the easiest. This, I can see why this is also people's favourites. It's very generic. You smelt it before a lot. It's nothing new. It's not breaking the mould, but actually for me it's the most easy to wear, if perhaps not a bit too sweet and what have you for me, but not awful. None of them are awful. It's all subjective. So yeah, that's cosmic powder. Was it powdery? There was a bit in there, and cosmic, if you like. Alright, so that's me. So yeah, I wanted it to keep it brief, and I wanted to be as objective as I humanly possibly can be, as objective as we can be. But we're all affected by things differently, and we all kind of smell things differently. Now, we all like a different DNA and a different kind of style. Synthetic is not bad, natural is not good. Okay, that's a simple fact. We like what we like, and synthetics can be used well, naturals can be used badly. It's how it is. Now these lean on the, you know, if you have the scale of natural and synthetic, these kind of lean like up there, maybe the next town. They are incredibly synthetic. They're not necessarily a bad thing, but I have a conspiracy theory, a theory about this. I think Puig, or whoever it was, accidentally, instead of ordering one tanker full of cashmeran, they ordered, you know, like a massive 20 tanker ships of it, and they had to get rid of it really urgently, and they just filled the perfumes with that. And the overstock of ambroxan, we thought, well, we may as well use that up as well, and that went in there. If you're a fan of cashmeran, which some people will be, these are certainly the fragrances for you. I mean, bar that cosmic powder, they are laden with it, absolutely laden. And we all like different notes. Cashmeran, like described many times to me, is socks in the mouth. It's choking. It's that kind of, that Do you know what I mean? That kind of heavy, dense, furry sock kind of texture and feel to me, and it chokes me and it really makes me feel ill. Now I like the odd fragrance with cashmeran in, that's possible. I don't write it off completely. It's not the worst note in the entire history of the world, is it? But when it's delicately used, these are for the cashmeran fans out there, aren't they? Which there might be some people. I was reading comments on Fragrantica, I think I mentioned that earlier, and someone said it better than I ever could, and they're kind of my hero. Stick to the makeup, Charlotte Tilbury, darling. She'll have had nothing to do with these whatsoever, will she? Do they smell a little bit like the ones I'd tried from Penhaligon's, that potions line? Hell yeah. The perfumers, I don't want to mention them, it's not their fault. They get given a brief. Here's a ton of cashmeran and 3p. Make the most of a fragrance you can from that. And are they worth the price? Subjective. For £130, what else can you buy? Maison Violet fragrance. Is it in the same universe? No. But again, these do seem to be popular. A lot of people have given a lot of love to them, especially those who were gifted bottles and stuff. They say they're the best, most creative, most fantastic, groundbreaking fragrances you've ever smelt. If you don't smell anything else in your life, just smell these. I think you'd like them if you'd never smelt anything else, actually. Or would you? Well, subjective. But, I mean, I don't want to call them trash because that's not fair. Somebody has made them. Somebody's thought them up. Somebody spent money on them. Somebody spent time doing them. For me, at best I can say they're nothing new, and they certainly do make the most of cashmeran. And again, if you love that, you love that. And if you know me and you love these fragrances, chances are you wouldn't have watched this video, because I wanted to like them. I wanted to like one. I like that cosmic powder one. Isn't awful, but no, just no. I don't know what happened here. It's been an experience trying them, and I don't like making videos like this, so I don't like being, I'm not brutal, I'm honest, and yeah, that's it. Anyway, what about you? Have you tried them? Did you love them? And again, no disrespect, no bad feeling with you. I want to understand why you love them, what it was about them. I mean, some people it'll be just the strength, but if people genuinely love them, then that's fair enough. I'm not God, I don't know everything. People think I have bad taste, not interested in the fragrances I like, so it's all, you know, it's all fair enough, isn't it? Which was your favourite if you tried them? Was it the synthetic toxic beef? Was it the socks in the mouth one? Was it the sweet one? Was it the kind of plasticky one? Or which one was it? Are you getting sick of these sorts of things coming out? These lines all at once? That basically are slightly different versions of a line from a different house that went before. This is the future. This is conglomerates, folks. Alright, if you got to the end of this, and if you don't want to kill me, even if you do want to kill me, thanks for watching, folks. Bye.